The spit was still visible on the black fabric of Judge Judy's robe when the entire courtroom realized what had just happened. For 2 full seconds, nobody moved. Not the bailiff standing near the podium. Not the retirees sitting in the audience expecting an ordinary small claims argument. Not Chief Richard Walsh, the powerful head of the Maple Ridge Police Department, seated proudly in the front row with his badge shining beneath the courtroom lights. Everyone froze because Brittany Walsh, spoiled wealthy, and convinced her father's position made her untouchable, had just spit directly on a sitting judge during a nationally televised court proceeding. And within less than 30 seconds, cold metal handcuffs would lock around her wrists for the first time in her 24 years of life. By sunset that same day, Brittany Walsh would face 11 criminal charges. By noon the following afternoon, her father's 28-year career would be collapsing in disgrace. And before the week ended, the entire Maple Ridge Police Department would become the center of a federal corruption investigation that destroyed everything the Walsh family spent decades building. Every piece of that destruction traced back to one moment, one careless act, one entitled young woman who believed her last name protected her from consequences forever. She was about to learn, in front of millions of viewers, exactly how wrong she had been. But what Brittany didn't know, what Chief Walsh didn't know, what absolutely nobody in that courtroom understood except the calm woman sitting behind the bench, was that this had never been a normal courtroom case. 3 separate revelations were about to explode one after another, and any single one of them alone could have destroyed the Walsh family permanently. The first revelation was the truth behind Brittany's confidence, because for years, she actually had been untouchable. 5 separate incidents, 5 buried reports, 5 victims quietly ignored, while her father's badge erased consequences before they ever reached prosecutors. The second revelation was a piece of body camera footage delivered directly to Judge Judy's chambers that very morning by a police officer who had finally reached his breaking point. Footage so damning that later prosecutors would call it one of the clearest examples of police corruption they had ever seen. And the third revelation sat sealed inside a thick manila envelope, resting quietly on Judge Judy's bench. An internal affairs file powerful enough to destroy Chief Richard Walsh's entire career before the studio cameras even stopped rolling. While Brittany spent the weekend posting selfies at brunches and planning the outfit she would wear to court, Judge Judy spent that same weekend speaking directly with prosecutors and investigators. By Monday morning, every trap had already been set. Brittany simply walked directly into them. And once she did, there was no escape left. Within 48 hours of the episode airing, the footage would surpass 87 million views online. Within 1 week, the Maple Ridge Police Department would face federal investigation. Within a month, lawmakers in multiple states would begin introducing new accountability laws inspired directly by the events of that courtroom. And all of it started because one entitled young woman thought humiliating a television judge would make her famous. She became famous, just not in the way she expected. To understand how catastrophic that courtroom moment truly became, you first need to understand the 2 women standing on opposite sides of that courtroom, because they represented 2 completely different Americas. Sarah Chin was 58 years old, yet hardworking, invisible to most people, the kind of woman society depends on while rarely noticing she exists. 34 years earlier, Sarah immigrated from a small village outside Guangzhou with her husband David, carrying only 2 suitcases and $300. Since arriving in America, she worked constantly. No vacations, no luxury, no shortcuts. 3 years before she ever heard the name Brittany Walsh, Sarah's husband collapsed inside the auto repair shop where he worked and died from a sudden heart attack before paramedics could save him. 2 years before that, Sarah buried her only daughter Jennifer after a long battle with addiction destroyed her life piece by piece. After the funeral, Sarah returned to work 2 days later because Jennifer left behind 2 children who needed someone to survive for them. Marcus was 11 years old, Lily was 8. They shared the second bedroom inside Sarah's tiny apartment while she slept nightly on an old fold-out couch in the living room. Sarah told the children she preferred the couch because it helped her back. That wasn't true. The truth was simple. The kids needed a bedroom more than she did. Sarah worked exhausting double shifts at the Lakeside Diner 3 days each week. On top of that, she performed alteration work from home during evenings because Marcus suffered from severe asthma, and his medication cost hundreds of dollars every month. For 3 straight years, Sarah quietly altered clothing for neighbors without a single complaint, until Brittany Walsh arrived. Brittany represented the complete opposite of Sarah Chin in every meaningful way. At 24 years old, she remained trapped inside what should have been a 4-year college degree because she never experienced real responsibility. Every bill got paid by her father. Every problem disappeared through influence. Every consequence vanished before touching her. She drove a white Range Rover decorated with "Back the Blue" stickers she used like magical protection from traffic tickets and accountability. She carried designer handbags worth thousands. She treated restaurant workers like servants. And she perfected the smug eye roll of someone who genuinely believed ordinary people existed beneath her. She had already been arrested twice for DUI. Another arrest involved assaulting a bartender. Every charge disappeared within days. No consequences, either. Brittany even filmed herself harassing retail workers before posting the videos online for entertainment. But what nobody in Maple Ridge knew was that Brittany Walsh had quietly become the subject of 5 separate internal complaints over 3 years. 5 different working-class women, every complaint buried, every report dismissed, every victim ignored, all protected by Chief Richard Walsh. Sarah Chin was about to become victim number 6, except this time the Walsh family finally targeted the wrong person. The trouble began on a Friday afternoon when Brittany delivered a black Versace cocktail dress to Sarah's apartment. The dress needed hemming before a sorority event the next evening, 18-hour turnaround. Brittany tossed the dress onto Sarah's kitchen counter without even removing her sunglasses. Sarah quoted $40 for the work. She finished late that same night, but the next morning while preparing the completed dress, one tiny drop of coffee splashed onto the inside hem. The stain was microscopic, barely visible, smaller than a grain of rice. Sarah panicked immediately. She called Brittany, apologized repeatedly, offered professional dry cleaning, offered a full refund, offered additional repair work free of charge. Brittany arrived 40 minutes later, and instead of accepting a reasonable solution, she exploded. She screamed at Sarah for 15 straight minutes in front of Lily and Marcus, demanded $4,000 immediately. And when Sarah calmly explained the dress never cost $4,000 and she couldn't pay money she didn't owe, Brittany filed a lawsuit the next morning. 6 weeks later, both women sat inside Judge Judy's courtroom. Sarah arrived carrying neatly organized receipts, text messages, and statements from neighbors. Lily and Marcus sat quietly in the audience because Sarah had nobody else to watch them. Then Brittany walked inside, chewing gum loudly. Scrolling through her phone, wearing oversized designer sunglasses indoors, the bailiff politely asked her to put away the phone. She ignored him. He asked again. She rolled her eyes. Only after the 3rd warning did she finally slide the phone into her handbag. Judge Judy entered moments later and immediately began asking calm, seemingly ordinary questions. She invited Brittany to explain the situation in her own words. Brittany sighed dramatically before answering, the kind of exaggerated sigh designed to announce that the entire courtroom bored her. She never referred to Sarah by name. Only that woman, or the seamstress. When Sarah calmly explained the coffee accident and described her offers to fix the issue, Brittany rolled her eyes so aggressively that audience members visibly reacted. Then Sarah described how Brittany returned to the apartment building repeatedly after filing the lawsuit, late night screaming, banging on doors, posting videos online identifying Sarah publicly. Harassment that frightened the children so badly Marcus suffered an asthma attack requiring emergency treatment. Brittany laughed, actually laughed. The audience gasped in disgust. Judge Judy calmly asked whether Brittany wished to explain the videos. Brittany smirked confidently. Free speech. Then she added another sentence that instantly turned the audience against her completely. Maybe if she did her job properly, she wouldn't end up online. Sarah lowered her head. Lily began crying quietly in the audience. Marcus wrapped his arm protectively around his little sister. And Judge Judy quietly made a note on her yellow legal pad, a small detail nobody noticed. But in that exact moment, the case stopped being about a dress. Judge Judy slowly began laying evidence across the bench, photographs, receipts, most. Then she revealed the image that destroyed Brittany's entire story, a screenshot from Brittany's own Instagram account, posted 2 days before bringing the dress to Sarah. The photo showed Brittany already wearing the exact same Versace dress publicly at a charity event, meaning the dress wasn't ruined before its first use. Brittany had attempted to scam compensation for an outfit she already wore publicly. Judge Judy looked directly at her. "Miss Walsh," she said calmly, "you didn't bring a damaged dress into this courtroom. You brought a scam." For the first time all morning, Brittany's confidence cracked. She slammed her hand onto the podium aggressively, accused Sarah of lying, accused Judge Judy of bias. Then she turned toward her father, expecting rescue. But Chief Walsh hesitated, only briefly, yet long enough for Brittany to notice, and something dangerous inside her finally snapped. "You're a fake judge on a fake show," Brittany screamed. "My father runs this town." Judge Judy remained perfectly calm. "Miss Walsh, I'm giving you one opportunity to apologize." Brittany stepped forward, leaned across the podium, and spit directly onto Judge Judy's robe. The courtroom froze. 2 seconds of total silence. Then chaos exploded everywhere. The bailiff moved instantly. Judge Judy slowly stood while the spit remained visible against her black robe. Audience members gasped loudly. Chief Walsh jumped to his feet only to find courtroom security blocking his path immediately. And Judge Judy calmly delivered the sentence that ended Brittany Walsh's freedom. "Officer," she said coldly, "place Miss Walsh under arrest." Brittany laughed in disbelief. "You can't arrest me. My dad is right there." She turned toward her father confidently, expecting rescue. Instead, she saw pure panic spreading across his face. For the first time in her entire life, Chief Richard Walsh looked powerless. The color drained from his face completely. He understood instantly that this situation could no longer be controlled. Handcuffs closed around Brittany's wrist exactly 30 seconds later. Then Judge Judy lifted the sealed manila envelope, and everything became worse, far worse. "Chief Walsh," she said calmly, "we need to discuss your daughter." Inside the envelope sat internal affairs records exposing years of corruption. Judge Judy began reading carefully. 3 years earlier, Brittany struck 19-year-old Tyler Brennan with her Range Rover outside a shopping center. Tyler suffered catastrophic injuries. Medical bills exceeded $80,000. The police report mysteriously listed the driver as unknown. The case disappeared after a private settlement. Tyler still walked with a permanent limp. The audience reacted in horror. Judge Judy continued. 2 years earlier, Brittany was arrested for drunk driving with blood alcohol levels more than double the legal limit. The arresting officer later received punishment assignments. Evidence vanished before prosecutors received the case. Then Judge Judy read the names of 5 women whose complaints were buried by Maple Ridge Police Department. 5 working-class women ignored because the accused person happened to be the chief's daughter. Sarah Chin quietly cried at the plaintiff's table while hearing the names. Then Judge Judy held up a black flash drive. 6 months ago, she said, your daughter threatened a patrol officer during a traffic stop. The courtroom watched body camera footage showing Brittany arrogantly telling an officer, "Do you know who my father is? He'll destroy your career." The officer never issued the ticket. He was reassigned shortly afterward. Judge Judy explained that another officer secretly delivered the footage because he could no longer tolerate the corruption. The courtroom became completely silent. Chief Walsh looked like a man watching his life collapse in real time. Judge Judy turned gently towards Sarah. "This case stopped being about a dress the moment I opened this file." Then she announced that all evidence would immediately transfer to the Attorney General's office, federal investigators. She awarded Sarah significant damages, but more importantly, She made the corruption public forever. That was the moment Britney completely broke. Not graceful tears, not dramatic crying. Total panic, mascara running, hands shaking, begging her father to save her. "Daddy, please!" Chief Walsh stood motionless. Because he finally understood something horrifying. There was nobody left powerful enough to protect them anymore. The courtroom footage exploded online within hours. Millions watched the clip repeatedly. The hashtag #NoBadgeAboveTheLaw dominated social media for days. Former officers came forward publicly describing years of corruption inside Maple Ridge. One retired officer posted an emotional video describing how refusing to bury Britney's crimes destroyed his own career years earlier. The video reached millions. Then the buried victims started speaking publicly. Maria Hernandez, Lynn Winnan, Carmen Diaz, when ignored for years, finally received attention from the entire country. Meanwhile, strangers launched fundraising campaigns for Sarah Chin. Within days, donations exceeded hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sarah paid her debts, correct education funds for Marcus and Lily, and donated money toward legal support for working-class women facing harassment. Tyler Brennan eventually sued the city successfully. Britney Walsh faced 11 criminal charges, including assaulting a judicial officer, contempt, intimidation, and reopened charges from previous incidents. Months later, she stood inside another courtroom. No sunglasses, no arrogance. No father rescuing her. She received 4 years in state prison. Chief Richard Walsh faced federal charges for obstruction, corruption, and abuse of office. His career ended in disgrace. His pension disappeared. He received 7 years in federal prison. The Maple Ridge Police Department underwent federal oversight and complete restructuring. Sarah Chin became a national symbol of courage. She appeared on television, spoke publicly about accountability. Yet despite everything, she still returned to work at the Lakeside Diner because it reminded her of her late husband. The case inspired new legislation requiring independent review of complaints involving police family members. And millions of Americans remembered one simple truth after watching that courtroom moment. No badge, no family name, no position of power protects someone forever from the consequences of their own actions. Britney Walsh spent 24 years believing accountability only happened to ordinary people. It took 30 seconds for reality to finally prove her wrong.